do not create swivel chairs for your employees. Don't do that, right? Standalone experiences do not equal productivity. You have to put it all in context and in the flow of work. And the workflow is key.
Welcome to the Chief AI Officer or CAIO podcast, where AI mentor Sanjay Puri talks with the leaders shaping tomorrow's technology. We explore their stories, challenges, and big ideas driving change. So if you're curious about how AI is transforming work, business, and everyday life, this is your front row seat to the future. Our guest today sits at the intersection of strategy, skill, and real-world digital transformation. Kellie Romack is the Chief Digital Information Officer at ServiceNow, where she leads the company's global digital strategy, turning complex systems into seamless, human-centered experiences. With sharp focus on execution, innovation, and impact, Kellie brings a practitioner's lens to what it really takes to drive change in large, fast-moving organizations.
Kellie, welcome to the CIO podcast.
Thank you, Sanjay. I'm super glad to be here.
Wonderful. Kellie, we have a global audience. They are your peers in many cases, chief AI officers, chief digital officers, CIOs, entrepreneurs of AI companies, policy leaders, and just aficionados. For them, for some of those people, very few of them, can you just give them a very brief view of what is ServiceNow?
Yeah, absolutely. ServiceNow is an enterprise software company, and we power businesses in all four corners of the business. So our platform is able to connect people with technology. And what we like to say is we take AI plus data plus workflow on one platform, and we are able to reinvent and transform the business with it.
So, first, let's talk about the digital transformation that you led. You led it in hospitality, retail, and now enterprise software. What's the one principle, Kellie, that has translated perfectly across these industries, and what surprised you by not translating?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I look at what I was able to accomplish, with awesome teams at Hilton and at Walmart and here at ServiceNow, the one thing that absolutely translates is we have to create a great experience for our customers. And whether those customers are hotel guests, people shopping online or in store, or our customers here at ServiceNow. And those include our employees, our customers, and our partners. So creating that frictionless one place experience has translated awesome. And it's always having that customer at the heart of every single thing we do.
Do you consider your employees as customers too?
100%, right? At ServiceNow, I have the great opportunity, and I've done this in my other roles as well. At ServiceNow, I look at my customer in three buckets. One are true customers that are using our enterprise software across the world. 85%, I think, of the Fortune 500s. So lots of people out there using ServiceNow are my customers, also our employee base. We have 28,000 people here at ServiceNow, and I need to empower them with our awesome technology. And I also run our partner technology. So all of the partners that we do business with that help serve our customers and help us internally, we power that technology as well. So yes, I look at all of those as my customer.
Kellie, AI is transforming workforce, as you know today. In many ways, there are a lot of changes. People are being more productive, doing things that more faster, more efficiently. But also, companies are maybe laying off people. Companies are maybe reducing the hiring because of their becoming more efficient. So there is a transformation. Now, you had a front and center view on a situation during COVID at Hilton where you had to make some incredibly tough decisions, including furloughing employees while you were running the care center. How did that experience shape how you approach AI driven workforce transformation? And what would you suggest to people, to your peers who are going through that right now?
What a wonderful question. I would say the COVID experience in hospitality had a monumental impact on me as a human and how I approach people and technology go forward. Because we can truly make people's lives better with technology, right? We know that. And what I look at with this AI transformation internally is we are putting AI to work, yes, but AI is leading out from a technology in perspective, but humans are at the core of it, right? So we're helping humans use technology in very different ways and helping them skill up, reinvent the work, right? Level up, level across, and really rethink a lot of their roles. And I think that's so transformational. One of the many things that I'm responsible and accountable for is I run the IT service desk. So it's my team, right? We support all 28,000 people as well as our partners on many things as well. So we were able to create an autonomous IT service desk. And what does that mean? 90% of every request that comes in, whether it's I have an issue, I have a problem, I need to install new software, or I just need some help, we're able to receive and solve autonomously 90% of the time. So what was that impact to the people, right? Because I talked about people at the heart of everything we do. We took our service desk and we said, oh great, we only need about 15% of our service desk running these agents. And so then we took those folks, we upskilled and transformed their roles so that they can very much focus on managing the AI, leveling our things up. How do we get 90% to 99? So you're probably wondering, well, Kelly, what did you do with the rest of the 85%? Well, we invested in them. We zoomed out and we said, great, what are some gaps and some opportunities that we have in our organization and some work we need to go get done? So what we did is we looked at their interest. We looked at what we needed, and then we upskilled, trained, helped them, and then we redeployed them. And I have to tell you, Sanjay, it has been an amazing experience. So not only are we able to solve problems, right, and do more, right, with using AI, our satisfaction scores of our 28,000 people have gone up double digits. That's a win-win. And we started that in September and it's January, right? So I mean, to go up satisfaction wise 2 points and to have that big of an impact in 4 short months is monumental. We're so excited. And now I'm taking that and partnering with all of our different C levels across the organization. And we're going to walk that concept across the organization and look at for end to end solutions. So I could go on and on. It's such a win. And the great news is we didn't get rid of people, right? We reinvented the roles and then we upskilled our folks. And that is a win-win across the board.
So, Kelly, you made some very, very important points because our economy and maybe the economies around the world are really grappling with this issue, and you have taken a lead. Do companies have a responsibility in upskilling? As you said, 85% of your employees were probably their skills could be used elsewhere. So, do you think companies have that responsibility, Kelly?
So we have a lot of other responsibilities here. So when I zoom out, the answer is yes. And how we're doing that at ServiceNow and how I'd like to see other companies do this as well is we've created something called ServiceNow University. Our goal is to democratize education and information. We want to upskill and train 3 million people inside of ServiceNow and outside of ServiceNow. You heard me talk about our customers and our partners by 2027. So I think there is an opportunity for growth, for learning and advancement of folks with AI. So AI is a technology, but it's human led, right? So we're AI powered and human led. So I do think it is an opportunity for people. And if you're just looking at it as a binary type of thing with efficiency, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. You have to reinvent the work and reinvest in your people and help them grow with the company.
To what you have been able to achieve, you said your employee sat scores have just gone up. So it's also a good business decision besides the right moral decision, is what you're saying, right, Kelly?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Sanjay, when I really focus and I really think about this in the big picture, I guess I should say this is really not just trying to automate the old, right? So basically putting AI on top of our old processes. If you're doing it that way, my point of view is that's not the most beneficial way for everyone. You have to reinvent all of the work. So we have thousands and thousands of sellers. I mean, this is how sellers feed their families, pay their mortgage, right? Take care of their people in their lives. So they always want to know how they're doing on their compensation plans, right? They want to know how they're doing, how they're laddering up. That's an important piece of information for them for their future, right? For how they're doing at work. And they have to work with our finance teams to do that. And that's a lot of work from our finance teams. So, both of them were coming to me saying, Kelly, how do we reinvent this? Like, well, actually, they didn't say how they reinvent it. The sellers wanted to want faster answers, and the finance team wanted less work. I don't blame either one, right? So it's my team's job to totally zoom out and say, okay, what is our AI value of this? How do we apply AI and reinvent the work, not apply it to the old process, Sanjay, right? How do we reimagine the work? So I always like to think about it as bookends for value. So we really examine the value we needed to get. So then we were able to use confidential compute and AI technology, and we took our sales commission request process and we automated it with all the things I'm talking about. And we not only made faster, we eliminated the tickets, totally got rid of them. So we moved a 4-day process to 8 seconds. 8 seconds. That's reinventing. And when you look at that, and then okay, so what did that mean? Our sellers got to go focus on our customers, and our finance team got to go focus on all of the great work internally. I mean, you've seen all the M&A we've done, right? We got to focus on all of those good things. So we freed up intellectual capacity for thousands of people inside of ServiceNow. It was a win-win, and that's a great example of how we didn't get rid of anyone. We just changed the viewpoint and what they were focused on by allowing them to focus on our customers and focus on the company priorities. I think it's so important that we have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and not build AI in silos. And you have to understand it end to end.
You obviously are bringing some amazing skills from the experiences you've had. But to our listeners who want to take this on, you know, innovate to the new, what kind of mindset or skill set is needed? And is that something that can be learned? Tell our listeners that.
I learn something new every single day. I go to bed every night and I'm like, okay, what did I learn today? How do I grow? And I think that's so important on self-reflection. And so when I zoom out, I would say, yes, I'm the CDIO. I'm also a talent architect here at ServiceNow. So we look at people who are curious, right? We look at people who are curious. We look at people who want to understand the business because we're blurring the lines between pure technologists or pure business leaders, right? Or pure product leaders. Those lines are blurring every single day. And I think that's a good thing because I encourage, and in my old world, I encouraged people to understand what you get into Walmart, what people were doing in the stores, how customers were shopping, how and technology impacted the customers and the employees. And then here, I have our product leaders sit with our business users, right? We go sit with our customer support teams. We go sit with our finance teams, our legal teams, our HR teams to truly understand the struggles they're having, the problems they're trying to solve. And part of those skills that you mentioned, that takes curiosity, right? That takes a level of understanding. I would say a level of empathy, right? And understanding that. So, yes, of course, we look at the hard technical skills, the hard product skills, but there's a lot of soft skills out there. And we know AI, that's where humans come in, right? AI is not necessarily going to do a lot of those soft skills for us. We need people for those things. And then looking beyond, the what's right in front of you and how it all connects together in the bigger ecosystem. So those are some of the things that I would absolutely encourage, people when they're thinking about how do they reinvent and what skills they're looking for. And I tell my team all the time, yes, you get asked a question. Just answering that question sometimes is actually the absolute wrong thing to do, right? You have to understand the contextualization. Context is everything. It's everything. And understanding context, impacts, dependencies, right? And how it fits in end to end. So I could probably talk all day about talent. I love people. And I care deeply about them. And I'm very fortunate. I have an awesome team here that we can continue to grow. And they will if you could ask any one of them and they will say, what will Kellie Romack want you to do? Be curious, right? Be curious, be kind. You can be direct, clear as kind is what I say, but be curious and go lean into the problem. And Sanjay, one final thing, I always tell my team, a problem well defined is a problem half solved. I'm sure you've heard that before.
So, but you made some fantastic points for our audience. Be curious, have empathy, and then have good context. Context, as you said, is everything. And then problem half defined is problem solved. So for our aspiring chief AI officers, chief information officers, I think Kelly has given some incredible points. Kelly, shifting to a topic that's right now the topic du jour, your help desk automation, was it done by agentic AI systems?
We've used everything from integrations to agentic AI to orchestration. And that's where the ServiceNow platform is so key, right? And the reason I talk to our customers is because I run, as you know, ServiceNow on ServiceNow. So we're able to help them and understand it. And Sanjay, I run different technologies as well. We have great partnerships with, SAP or Google and different places out there, right? I could go on and on. And how do those things in Microsoft, right? You don't have to rip those things out, right? You don't have to rip those things out. You can look at a platform that it sits on top of them and really orchestrates, right? Orchestrates the AI. So you have agentic AI, of course, you have integrations, and you have orchestration that ties it all together. And you can't look at silos. And that's the most important point. And I will tell you, that's a failure point I've seen with some customers. They're like, we're going to go focus on this one thing. I'm like, but what are your downstream business impacts? I ask that all the time. What are the outcomes? Because that helps me create a better solution and be able to do end to end technology in a way more graceful way. And as I talked about earlier, creating that really great user experience as well.
So, Kelly, we've had a lot of your peers come in and ask them the same question, and I get different answers. What is your definition of agentic AI? What is an agent? Just very briefly.
There's lots of different definitions out there. And I think getting mired in what it is today and what it'll be tomorrow. I mean, I've worked with AI for a very long time. You and I both know it's been around for years and years and years, right? This isn't new, it's evolved. And so you have a collection of agents that are working together with an orchestration layer, again, using data, and in our case, using data and workflow in one platform to create a total end to end experience. That's how I look at it in a simplified version, in a simplified term. We have lots of different AI, agentic and non agentic AI agents working together with orchestration. Orchestration in context. And might I add, with security. Security in context of what you're doing. And we run all of that here at ServiceNow with our AI control tower. And that was one of the things my team, we invented the AI control tower because we needed it. We needed it to use to run our business. And we said, well, wow, other customers are going to need this as well. So then we worked with our product team and we productize it. I understand what use cases are in production, what's their adoption, what's their usage, what's my value business gain. It's not just technical numbers, Sanjay. What's my value business gain? And I can also see things that are in the pipeline and also things that we're thinking about, right? You have to look at holistically and you have to really understand how all your AI is working together and interacting with each other.
Given that ServiceNow is such a leader in agentic AI, who should these agents report into?
I want to democratize things. I want to empower people, get decisions closest to the work. That's incredibly important because I think that creates better teams. My other more technical answer is we have to look at security protocols for all of these things. So as we think about who has access to what data the agent's pulling back, who has access to what workflow, right, can enact, right? Who has access to this? So when we really zoom out, we have to understand how the security works, right? How the agents work together and how the information is understood. So when you think about reporting, and at ServiceNow, I am responsible for the internal transformation of our AI technology. That doesn't mean I'm the only person. I work with my peers across the industry. I was just on a call yesterday with our legal team. Right, we've created this amazing legal brain technology that works across all of our legal technology, and it really helps to drive our business forward. So in that case, right, we're serving our legal team while the technology team, my team, the digital technology team, is helping to ensure safety, security, accuracy, uptime, right? All of those things and that end-to-end experience. And I do that for customer support as well. I have the great fortune to run customer support, and we're able to do, 90% of every customer support interaction for us is self-serviced. So I mean, that's huge, right? And then we take that the rest that's coming through, we still apply AI to that. And so our customer support engineers, they may get a problem that can't get self-served, right? Let's talk about that. And a problem, in, Sanjay, you're very familiar with technology. If somebody says this is running slow, you and I both know slow could mean network, computer, right? Transaction. It could mean about 10,000 different things. So the great news is when that customer contacts us, right, we use agents to go get all of that information so the customer isn't having to spend their time giving us all those details. So what we've seen is our resolution time for really complex performance issues has been reduced by 50%. We've cut it in half. So that's AI plus people working together. And again, when you talk about reporting, right? Our customer service leader, who I'm a good partner with, right? And he's done lots of things out there. He's running those agents. My team's responsible for supporting them. So I think it's somewhat a democratized model, but our governance, and our AI review board, right? We have a very streamlined so that we are governing it across the enterprise appropriately. So we absolutely are governing and have cyber in there and all of those things together.
Kelly, I had about a month ago, I had the chief AI officer of probably the number one cybersecurity company in the world. And I asked him, what keeps you up at night? It's the last question. He said, rogue AI agents, which these are internal rogue agents that could go rogue. Is that something security that worries you? Because you are a leader in AI agents. Any thoughts on that?
I will tell you, first off, security is top priority. Our cyber principles, how we do our service architecture, it is our underpinning. Our CISO is literally down the hall from me. Him and I work every day. We're talking, and our teams are talking. So cyber is incredibly key. Do I worry about rogue agents? I would reframe that question. We ensure those things don't happen. Does that make sense? So we will not allow those things to be created. So I think you got to get ahead of it. So I'm all about shifting left and thinking about what could happen, not a problem we need to go solve. We have to get ahead of those things. So incredibly important. And me and the CISO, we partner to do that because we have to do it here first, and we have to be a leader. And I think there's a white paper out there that my team has published as well on this, because we have to be a shining example so that we can help serve our customers appropriately for this topic.
Question from your peers is about ROI, Kelly. They, they work to show ROI and picking the right use cases. Any advice or input on how to pick because there are thousands, you go to a large financial, thousands of use cases, how to pick those, and then how to be able to show to your board or to your CEO either ROI on some of those use cases?
Right. Well, I have to do both. So I presented the ROI on AI. I think it was in April of last year, and it's funny that we're doing this today. We just had a meeting yesterday to talk about our new ROI that we're setting internally. And as you know, last year it was $355 million, right, of AI value internally. So when you talk about ROI, I talk about AI starts with value and ends with value. So it's our bookends. Value has to be our bookends. So we do a couple of things. So we already talked about AI control tower. So we use that, right? So if we have an idea, we look at the ROI of that idea before we're going to go put it in development. And we're not going to wait till after we've spent the money on the code and the teams and the effort and the intellectual capital on it. We're gonna shift that left. And the other thing we have to look at is, I talked about silos. Building a bunch of things in silos isn't going to get you the maximum value. You have to look at the end-to-end process. And I think the two examples, or the three examples that I've given on this call today, especially the sales comp example, where we talk about sellers and finance, we solve the end-to-end problem. And now It's literally done in 8 seconds from 4 days. And then on the service desk example of the IT service desk, same thing, right? I can't just solve my fulfiller, right? What my fulfillers needs. It's the requesters who are my real customer. I have to make sure their satisfaction goes up. So that end-to-end value is really key. And I will tell people if they're out there just looking at individual use cases, I would really challenge them to zoom out and understand their end-to-end value.
Kelly, you also said AI doesn't fail on tech, it fails on leadership. IDC estimates 42% of companies have scrapped a majority of their AI initiatives. What specific leadership failure do you see sometimes associated with behind some of those abundant projects?
It does fail, right, on leadership. And what we mean by that is how are people reinventing, right? How are people reinventing the work, right? And I have the opportunity, I talk to customers every single week, multiple customers. And sometimes they're just dipping their toe in the water and they're just doing one pilot. And that's awesome. That's great, right? But, no matter what journey they're on, there's this common theme, right? And when I see things fail, I would say there's three reasons, right? Three big reasons, macro reasons that things fail, right? Is in my mind. I think companies try to automate the old instead of reimagining the workflows, right? With AI first. Leaders think of AI as a tech project. And everything you've heard me talk about today, Sanjay, I hope you see is a bigger business strategy project, right? End to end. You have to look at it end to end. And you can't unlock the full value of AI by keeping it in the corner, right? The siloed tools, right? You can't just say, I'm going to do it for HR and then I'm going to do it for IT. You have to weave it together. So, really taking that golden thread and weaving it together from enterprises all the way across the board. That's why I see things fail because people aren't doing those things. So how do we, so what does success look like, right? So, what's success look like? So, I think you have to ask yourself, just because it was, does it have to be, right? Just because we have that process, why did we build that process, right? Is it helping something or is it a gatekeeper of something? So I think you have to look at the business outcome of what we're trying to achieve and then understand the stair steps and the building blocks of that and then look at reinventing those. So I could talk all day about this because I'm actually talking to two of my teams, my customer support team and my internal IT team this afternoon about both of those topics or all of these topics actually. But really thinking about reinventing the work is so, so important and having a big picture. And anyone who's listening, please just don't be like, I'm going to start this one IT project and for AI. If you're calling it an IT project, you're already going to fail. You need to think about it as an enterprise, right? And it's a business acumen, right? End to end. So I'm very passionate about this because I have a seat at the table with all of our business leaders here at ServiceNow and my customers. I don't just talk to CIOs or CTOs. I have great conversations. I have great friends that are CHROs or CFOs, right, in these other companies or chief product officers that are making things better for people because it is that end-to-end experience.
Kelly, just curious, when you talk to some of your customers and you really have a front row seat, can you tell if some of these projects are going to fail when you see some of these things that are happening? And do you tell them that?
I believe clear is kind. And the customers that ServiceNow has, when I'm engaged with conversations with these big leaders at ServiceNow, it's my obligation to help them demystify, right, technology and AI. And so I like to have the conversation with them. Let's move this from a black box to a glass box and let's create transparency on what you're trying to accomplish. So almost not creating judgment on the technology, but zooming out and creating clarity on the goal. And so once we create clarity on the goal and we really understand what the customer is trying to accomplish, because that is incredibly important, it's their goal, it's their company, right? It's their shareholders, their employees, their customers. We understand that, Sanjay. Then we can zoom out and say, okay, great. I think this technology, the way you're implementing it or the way you're looking at it may not get you to your goal. So I feel like it's my team's job to help, right, and ServiceNow's job to help them, right, create a stair step approach to get to their goals.
Kelly, you made an important point, and this is something I've asked your peers too. Your title is Chief Digital Information Officer. It's a mouthful, but do you think you really are the Chief Transformation Officer in this organization?
Yes, we are we're the chief transformation officer, we're the chief growth operator, we're the chief, technical talent architect, right? We have so many things. You cannot just show up and be like, I'm the CIO and I'm going to talk about technology. No, thank you, right? I'm your chief digital information officer and I'm going to help you grow your business, architect your talent, transform and reinvent your business to reach your goals. And that's my job. And I don't show up to conversations talking about just technology. Absolutely not. I absolutely try to figure out where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish. And then it's my job to make the technology work for the outcomes that we're trying to achieve for the business. And I feel very strongly about that. And that's how I approach every conversation.
In trying to do that, Kelly, you shifted from monthly AI metrics to daily tracking after executives said monthly data was not working. What specific patterns does daily data reveal that monthly reviews completely miss? This is one of the questions from your peers, Kelly.
I think it is a barometer of how AI native and what AI native means to a company, right? I think sentiment, adoption, productivity, and value. That's what I think it helps give you. If I understand what people are doing, how they're using it, and when they're using it, that really helps us understand what we need to do differently and better. So we use feedback as a gift. I say it all the time. Feedback is a gift. And we have to take that feedback. So we ask a ton of feedback, right? We want sentiment feedback, we want value feedback, productivity feedback. We want to understand so that we can iterate and make things better based on that feedback. So I would say overall, by really honing on those metrics and understanding sentiment and feedback, it's AI native. Are we AI native, right? If you're only using it, 3 times a month, you're not AI native. It's every day. I use it in my personal life. I use it in my work life. I used it this this morning at 6 a.m. Right. I have to tell you, Sanjay. I talk about curiosity. I love it. I am an AI native leader. My team will definitely tell you that, and I challenge them every day to use AI as a thought partner as well. Do not just ask it questions and get answers. You need to use it as a thought partner and get immersed with it. So I feel very strongly about this. That's a wonderful question. And I haven't thought about it in that way, but that's what it tells me. That's what it's helping me synthesize.
Yeah. And you talked about different models, Kelly. There's such a rapid release of models, GPT-5, Grok, Gemini. How do you or your team evaluate when to adopt a new model versus staying with what's working?
Yeah, that's great. And you're right. Sanjay. That's why I gave you that comprehensive definition, right, of AI or agentic AI, because it is evolving so incredibly fast. I've been in technology my whole career. It's fast as I've ever seen it run. What a great time to be in technology, I will say also. It's I think it's fun. I'm having a great time. My team's having a great time. We're adding a little joy, right, to technology. I love it. But coming back to your question, so again, I ground in evaluating models in that we tie them to business decisions, right? So we look at those models like productivity, cost savings, user experience, not hype. Absolutely not hype and not rhetoric, right? If a current model, right, it has to deliver that ROI, right? And it can't be a novelty. Like for example, we adopted Enterprise Cloud internally, and it's been a home run, right, for us, for our team. They use it for both day to day, and then you also have a toggle where you can use Claude Code. And I had a story. I had an engineer ping me over the weekend who I don't know in the company, he doesn't work on my team. He's like, "Hey, Kelly, I'm starting with you. Can I get more access?" And I'm like, the answer is always yes, right? He's like, "I'm able to be 10 times more efficient." I was like, "Let's go. We'll make those things happen," right? I think the other thing that we measure is we want to ensure that the the models are working seamlessly, right? Because we our focus is AI plus data plus workflow, right, on our platform. So we have to make sure they're working with us, and then transparency with the partner, right? And you heard me talk about glass box, right? Transparency is so important. We have to understand. So there's I do not believe in like smoke and mirrors and wow demos and all of that. I tell customers, and every time I talk to a customer, I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I'm going to show you. I will literally, Sanjay, pull out my phone and show customers, this is what we're doing in production in, today in our company when people are using. So I do feel that you really have to take a multifaceted approach to adoption. And of course, we have a rubric. Of course, we do. We have our technical standards, our security standards, all of those things as well. So, Sanjay, all of the classic CIO things that you would evaluate, absolutely, we do that. And all of the other things that I talked about, that experience, right? That integration. How does it fit in my workflow? Because what I should not do, and please, if any CIO is out there listening, or anyone who runs the technology, do not create swivel chairs for your employees. Don't do that, right? Standalone experiences do not equal productivity. You have to put it all in context and in the flow of work. And the workflow is key. So that's a little bit about all the models that we look at. And I'm very fortunate. I have an innovation team that looks at those things all the time, and they're awesome. I have them they send my whole extended leadership team a summary every Friday. Because again, I love to learn and I love my team to learn. I love to be curious, like what's new, what's going on in the industry.
No, absolutely. But ServiceNow has co-developed April Nemotron model also with NVIDIA. I mean, are
Yes.
you building proprietary models, and where's the line between, competitive advantage and unnecessary complexity in using off-the-shelf solutions for your peers?
Sure.
What should they
Yeah.
do?
That's a great question, and that question can change based on, right, how the industry is evolving. But I will say we've had a 6+ year partnership with NVIDIA, and it is rooted, and they're great partners. My team has been at the NVIDIA office. I think we were there most of Q4, right? We're all about shared goals, high performance, access, trust, right? Creating it. So we work side by side. Literally, I can list the people off that are sitting in the NVIDIA office working side by side with them, right, to align the performance and the workflow and how we create things for the real world AI, right? Again, transparency. So, that's an evolving conversation, but, in particular, you mentioned NVIDIA, and our partnership is strong as ever with them.
No, that's awesome. Kelly, you published a responsible AI white paper about building ethics
Mhm.
into the development cycle. Why is that important for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of people think about ethics or governance as a speed bump. No way. It's an accelerator, right? An accelerator. And let me tell you why, right? So, we embed governments into our AI lifecycle. We have process and oversight. We have to make sure we've got the right operational controls, the right development, the testing, right? Ongoing reviews, all of those things. And then we tie it all together with AI control tower, as I've mentioned before, because I'm responsible and accountable to our auditors. I'm responsible and accountable to our board. So we have to make sure we are governing it responsibly, right? We're thinking through the end to end impacts. And I will tell you, Sanjay, we're using human centered design. Our responsible AI principles are very focused on the human, transparent, it's accountable, right? And that's how we design things. And we, that includes things like, bias testing, right? We have a gold data set, right? Clear documentation, right? And we're using humans to review. I was just yesterday was a really busy day. I was in here. We were talking about something we're launching on the 26th of this month, and I was asking the team. I was like, "Listen, I want to make sure we've got human eyes on this, and I want this comparative solution, reviewed." And so, those are things that I care deeply about, and it's so so important. So please, I don't want people to think about it as a bureaucracy. It's a necessity, and you have to embed it in the process and get people to respect it and understand it. And you do that with education and transparency.
So it doesn't slow things down. It's not a bureaucracy. It's done through education, transparency. It might actually help you stand out from other organizations. Finally, Kelly, you stated that consensus can beat mediocrity and that you don't drive consensus, you drive understanding. Explain to your peers, because some folks go for consensus. What do you mean by that, and what is that leadership perspective to your peers? How does that work?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I can tell you what it's not, right? It's not forcing people to do anything. What it is is if you really zoom out and you get your North Star goal, and the way we do that, right? We understand what our company OKRs are, right? We run things with OKRs here. So we understand what our company OKRs are. We have an AI native blueprint that we have published internally. We have governance, right? We've got security and our company values, right? So if we use those things, we use all of those things, and then we look at what's the best outcome. If people aren't able to, get past maybe what they're doing or their organization and think bigger for the company, we get to help them, right? See the bigger view. So that's why I say we don't run it with consensus. We run it doing the right thing, the right way at the right time. And that's so, so important. I'm very passionate about this. I'm passionate about a lot of things, Sanjay. You can probably see that and feel the energy. But we have to look at that because it's my job to serve our company at the macro, serve our customers and our shareholders, as well as our employees and our partners. And so all of those 5 things, it's my job to find the best solution to serve them in the best way. And I always say, right, if we had a solution that made every single person happy, it's probably not the best solution.
Fantastic. Kelly, at the end, we have a lightning round so that,
Ooh, okay.
yeah,
Here we go.
for our, audience that likes one word answer. So let's go. For you, agentic AI, is it overhyped or underhyped?
Underhyped. I think there's so much potential. So
Okay,
much.
so much potential. Awesome. Open source AI, is it a friend or a foe?
Oh, it's a friend for sure, and that's part of the governance I talked about. Absolutely a friend. It drives like innovation, validation, and I would say curiosity. It's a friend.
Would you build, buy, or partner for AI capabilities?
Oh, that depends, Sanjay,
Yeah, I know.
because I use my rubric and my matrix to figure out what's the best solution to reach those goals I talked about. It depends.
You deal with a lot of industries. So, which is the industry most behind on AI adoption? Let's see. Who can you tick off right now?
Oh wow. Okay, that you definitely put me on the spot. I would say insurance.
Insurance?
I think insurance has an opportunity to evolve in many ways, right? I mean, anyway, I know it's lightning round. Insurance,
Okay.
that's my answer.
Will AI create more jobs than it eliminates? Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I absolutely agree that it will create more jobs, for sure.
Okay. Final one, biggest risk, regulation or lack of regulation?
Balance. We need balance. So we got to find balance between the two.
Okay.
This is fun.
Oh, absolutely. Kelly, our listeners are your peers, chief AI officers, aspiring leaders, and technology professionals. Before we wrap up, 2 things. Can you leave them with something that they can act on? And also for professionals who are aspiring to be in your role, what skills should they be developing right now that most people aren't thinking about? Some of it you've talked about, but just
Yeah, I
very
have.
quickly.
I'll be quick. Stay curious. Everything changes. Go learn. Be curious. Education unlocks anything. And I think leadership, double down on your human skills. Empathy for customers and employees, right? A lifelong learning. Servant leader. We didn't talk about servant leadership. I'm a huge servant leader. Go serve. Go leave the world better. Leave the company better than you found it. Servant leader mindset.
Be curious, be a servant leader. Kelly, this has been extraordinary conversation from pioneering hotel room digital keys, by the way, I've used them, to launching the largest enterprise mobility, in history, to now leading AI transformation at one of the world's most important platforms in enterprise. Your really journey embodies what this podcast is all about. Showing that transformational AI leadership can happen anywhere, not just in Silicon Valley. And for our listeners, you can follow Kelly on LinkedIn, where she regularly shares her insights on AI transformation and leadership. And of course, you can explore ServiceNow's AI platform and their customer zero case studies. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us on the CIO podcast. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you found this valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share your episode. I'm Sanjay Puri, reminding you the future of AI leadership is being written right now, and you have the power to shape it. Kelly, this was fantastic. Your energy, your enthusiasm, your clarity, that's why you shape so many industries. Loved the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjay. It was a pleasure, and let's hope this helps a few people out there, and we're making things great. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chief AI Officer podcast with Sanjay Puri. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought. And share it with someone curious about the future of AI. Join us every Friday right here on the CAIO podcast as we share more stories and insights from the leaders shaping what's ahead.